All right, hey, joined by Brett Kissel, who has new music coming out this week, which I got a sneak peek, and it is possibly your best single yet. And I'm not just saying
Ah,
that; it's incredible. That I don't want to give too much away. It's got a good Western feel to it, but it's what do the kids say these days? A certified banger, I think is what they
oh,
say, isn't it?
dude.
Isn't that what they say? But seriously, no, it's fantastic.
Well, thank you for saying that. I mean, I'm obviously very proud of the song and what it represents and what it stands for. But to have you say that, especially because you're listening to country music 24/7, you're running a great radio station, you're on air all the time, and you're talking about new music from Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs or Riley Green, and the list goes on. So, if one of my songs can actually, rise up in that regard, that's a huge compliment. So I
Yeah.
love Let Your Horses Run. I love the production of it. Yes, it's certainly got the great blend between everything that's great about new country right now, but a tip of the old cowboy hat to the Western way of life too.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a little bit's coming back. You get a little 90s stuff is starting to come back a little more. I don't know if you're noticing it on, the actual, artistry side of things, but I'm noticing a lot more, whether it's banjo or some of that kind of stuff, just in music in general right now in the country world is the little flavors coming back, which is great. I mean, 90s country, I always akin that to like 70s rock, right? It's just it's never going anywhere. So if we can start bringing
Yeah.
that flavor back, I'm all for it.
Oh, me too. And you know what? You're absolutely right. I think it's coming back in a great way, and all the best parts of it too, because the 90s was a wonderful time for country music. Arguably the greatest decade for country was 90s country. And I think everybody would agree too. So when you add those flavors into today's country 30 years later, now we're reintroducing those themes, the instrumentation. It's a really, really exciting thing because I grew up on 90s country. So I feel very accustomed to the messaging and the whole style of it. So even though mine isn't as maybe as twangy or honky tonk as some of the 90s Brooks and Dunn could have been, you're absolutely right. When we go into the studio, we're not shying away from fiddle. We're not shying away from steel guitar or banjo or dobro like we may have, 10 years ago, trying things to make sure things lean more pop. Now we're so happy when things lean more country.
And it's working. I mean, it's the hottest genre out there right now. I mean, Beyonce's jumped ship, right? So
I know. And everybody's kind of upset about Beyonce and everything. And I thought it was the greatest thing. The reality is because she's a massive superstar. So
yeah,
she's shining an even greater light on how great country music already is.
yeah.
So, I mean, we weren't upset when Backstreet Boys did a song with FGL. In the 80s, don't forget Ray Charles and Willie Nelson, who just had a birthday. They were doing duets together. Don't forget Glenn Campbell's Rhinestone Cowboy was not country enough in
Yeah,
the 1970s. They said that's too pop.
right.
So let's let's allow Beyonce to dip her toes into the waters of country music and show the rest of the world that we're the best. We've known it for forever, but now she and the rest of the world are figuring that out, and I love it.
It's great. No, it's fantastic for sure. And I mean, TikTok and Zoom or YouTube, all those kind of things have been a big part of that. Which I mean, look at your last single, right? The collaboration with Alan Cooper. I mean, his social media presence is incredible. I've been seeing his stuff come up for a long time now. The little parodies he does, or turn this song country and all that kind of stuff. And obviously he's got actual country songs that he goes out and produces and does stuff as well. But it's a big part of it, right? Bringing that younger audience, to the TikTok audience, to hear. How'd you get paired up with him in the first place? I mean, guy from Canada, influencer in the United States, you get paired up and have a huge hit.
It's really funny because we've said this a time or two where we were doing an interview together and someone said, "How did you meet?" And he had the best line. We met online and so it wasn't Plenty of Fish, it wasn't Tinder, it was TikTok. And
Yeah.
so he TikToks just in general all of Canada and says, "Canada, y'all have been so good to me up there. I need to do a song with a Canadian country artist." And well, if I wasn't tagged like 1,000 times. So
Nice.
I send him a DM and say, "Hey, whether you need a duet partner or a tour guide when you come up to Canada, I'm your guy." And so we formed a friendship. He asked me when I was coming to Nashville next. I said, literally next week. So I came down to his studio. We wrote two of us. We wrote another great song as well, but we wrote two songs in 2 days. And Two of Us was such a great song. We released it within a month and debuted it on the CCMAs.
That's crazy.
So within like 40 days of meeting each other, we form a genuine friendship, write and record and release a song that now has millions of streams, was a big hit for us. And I love the guy, and I'm so grateful that we have such a good relationship.
Yeah, he's the. I mean, I've never met him obviously, but he seems like he's got a pretty good head on him, and he doesn't take himself too seriously, which I think is great. In these,
Oh yeah,
he can't, right? You can't take yourself too seriously.
no, you certainly can't. But we've got a bunch of shows on the books. I'm gonna actually go down to the States. I'm gonna open for him in New York, and I'm bringing him up to Calgary, to the Calgary Stampede, where he's gonna open for me at Cowboys when we kick things off at the Stampede. So it's amazing what one little TikTok can turn into.
Yeah, no kidding, right? That's crazy. You know, when we talk about social media and the internet as a whole, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the biggest news of the last week. Which you've probably been asked 800,000 times already, but for the sake of me not asking you yet, I'll bring it up. The petition with the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, you do the anthem. How long have you been doing the anthem for now, by the way?
My first anthem was November 21st, 2006.
Wow.
I was 16 years old. And since then, I done maybe 50 or 75, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe even 100.
Wow. And for whatever reason, they seem to think that there's a curse placed upon the games that you do in the playoffs anyway, right? So that's, if no one's aware, if you're not aware somehow, the petition is to get you to stop doing the anthem. So I guess they seem to lose those games. What was your reaction to that? I know you put a tweet out, which kind of seems very, tongue-in-cheek, haha. You said you signed it, which was kind of funny nonetheless. But when you first get this brought to your attention, is it kind of like, the heck, man? What?
It was my big brother who showed me. He's like, man, Twitter or X or whatever it's called is going nuts right now. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, you're not online? I'm like, no, I was watching the game. And he says, oh, man, everyone's mad that you sang, and everyone thinks that the Oilers lost because of you. So I go online and check it out. And me and my wife, we actually couldn't stop laughing that there was legit so much anger. So let me paint the picture for you. It's overtime. Darnell Nurse coughs up the puck. Anze Kopitar goes in, scores. Apparently, that's my fault.
Of course,
so
you sang the anthem.
Of course, I sang the anthem. It was trust the science. It was my fault. So I had a lot of fun with it, and I went golfing with my brother the next day, and he and I were reading mean tweets to each other, trying to scroll through X and try to find funnier ones, funnier than the next. And my dad he's swerving. He almost crashes the golf cart because we have my dad laughing so much. There's one guy, who said, I've seen drunk karaoke singers with more talent and charisma than Brett Kissel.
Wow.
And you know what? That guy's probably right. There have been some great karaoke singers that we've all encountered, and one person said, country singers ruin the anthem. They're just garbage. Well, yeah, you know what? There have been some of us that have really screwed it up over the past. None of this stuff ever hurt my feelings. And the petition was at 2,499 signatures. They needed 2,500.
Right. So
I decided I'm going to sign it. I'll be the 2,500th person to sign this hilarious petition. Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw, there's a much less signed counter petition so I did a quick Google. I wanted to see what the numbers were at today, right? And it's like 2531 is right now. But there's another one that got started the day after, which is stop the unjust boycott against Brett Kissel. It has 43 signatures right now.
Oh, wow.
There's actually an anti-boycott petition on change.org also.
You know what? I gotta find those 43 people, and I gotta buy them all a beer. Every single one of them. And they're all invited. Let's all watch an away game together. All those 43 people.
There you go. I mean, I literally just Googled Brett Kissel petition, and both of them came up one right after the other. So,
and it's so funny because It's ridiculous, and it's also hilarious. But you know what? Oiler fans are so passionate about their team, and they would do anything. They would do anything to ensure a win. And you know what? That's a strong fan base. So I tip my cowboy hat to them.
You got to respect the dedication, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap up here. I know we only got you for like another minute or so, but the new single, Let Your Horses Run, comes out this week. When does it hit streaming services? Is it Friday?
You know, I think on Friday technically, but because of all these different time zones, right? I know people out in the East get it earlier than people in Mountain Standard Time. So
Right.
it's really, really exciting. Yeah, it's this week. It's going to be Friday is a big day for us.
So does that mean there's a new album coming along with this, or are you taking the route of, hey, when I'm recording stuff, I'm just going to start putting it out as we do it?
I think it's a lot more that way right now. This chapter that I'm in really comes off the heels of the Compass Project. And the Compass Project was the albums I put out last year. We did 4 albums. So because of that was 44 songs in one calendar year. We're now taking it hit by hit. And if it's not a hit, I don't want to put it out. So because of that, I know that I'm going to create a body of work over time. But right now, we wrote Let Your Horses Run. I knew that there was something special there. So that's all I care about right now is prioritizing that song, and that's it.
Right. Perfect. Well, I think it's a good song to prioritize for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, well, I'll let you get on. I know you've got lots of other interviews. You're talking to lots of people today. It's busy for you, but I appreciate your time.
It's a great day.
And yeah, go see if you can track down those 43 signatures.
I agree. That's a great idea. I'm going to see if I can.
Perfect. All right. Well, have a great day, and good luck with the song. I can't wait for everybody to hear it.
Oh, that means a lot. Okay, I hope you have a good day too.
Thanks. Take care.
Okay, see you, dude. Bye.
Bye.